Welcome to the You're Not Invisible After 50 podcast. I'm Kiran Kumar, founder and host of You're Not Invisible After 50. Despite the title, you don't have to be over 50 to listen to this podcast. No matter whether you're 25, 45, or 65, we can all learn lessons from each other to help us build a better, more fulfilled life. Come listen to the inspiring stories of all the phenomenal women over 50 who are kicking ass and making an impact. They are not invisible. I'm not invisible, and neither are you. So, no matter what society says, life doesn't end at 50. In fact, it's just beginning. Welcome to the You Are Not Invisible After 50 podcast. I'm Kiran and host of this podcast. We're all about showcasing phenomenal women over 50 who are kicking ass and making impact. You get to hear all the inspiring stories why you don't have to be invisible after 50. So sit back and enjoy the wonderful life story from this week's guest. My guest today is Nilima Deo. Welcome, Nilima. How are you?
I'm good, Kiran. And how are you?
I'm absolutely fine, thank you.
And I'm thankful to you for having me on your podcast. And it's going to be one of the highlights of my life.
Oh, I'm sure that's not true. I'm sure there's many, many highlights that you have in your life. This is just a kind of an experience, an episode of your life, and thank you for agreeing. It's taken us a couple of weeks to get here, but it's fabulous for you to be here now. I'm going to get you, Nilima, to introduce yourself in one line or more to our listeners. So, what would you like to
Uh,
say about yourself?
yeah, I'm known to be a bit garrulous, so one line may be difficult, but I'll
Mhm.
try. I'm Nilima Deo. I'm 67 years young, and I'm a retired banker. And yes, after 50, I've not been invisible. I've just been doing something or the other. So let's let it come back by and by.
Absolutely wonderful. I love that because, yeah, we're not invisible after 50. And as you said, you haven't been quiet. So let's talk about that in a moment. So in this
Yeah.
podcast, we're going to cover your life story, the past, the present, and if there was a trigger point at 50. Where would you like to start in the past?
I would like to tell you something about my background. I'm a Bombay bred girl. Came from a traditional but liberal parents. Traditional because we followed all the customs and all, but liberal because their mindset was different. My mother never chained me to the kitchen. Like she would always say that no, you study, you go ahead, you be economic independent so that you don't have to do the chakka chala which I had to do. And my father also put me through the best school in Bombay, though I was a girl child. And remember, this was the early 60s. And I went to one of the best schools in Bombay. And he was a businessman. So, though there were ups and downs, in terms of career and what he's earning and all that, two things he never compromised: good education and good, nutritious food. We never cut down upon that. Yeah.
So I'm just going to say that, I mean, it's really important. I think we put such an emphasis, I'll say we, Asians, all over the world, put such a great emphasis on education, which is really is the kind of the bedrock to your future, because by achieving a great education, we can accomplish so many things. And I think it's something that should be applauded when parents put their kids through good schooling, push them to, I would say push, sometimes people push too hard, but, drive them to achieve, because at the end of the day, life is tough, right? We have to survive and we have to thrive. And getting an education is kind of the vehicle to achieve all of your goals and dreams and ambitions.
Yes, I agree.
But let's move on. So you went to a great school, and
Yeah.
then where did you go next after you finished schooling?
After schooling, it was my ambition at that time to become a doctor.
Hmm.
But that was the year when we started the 10th class examinations instead of the 11th class examination. I did senior Cambridge. And though I didn't join college in the 10th, when I joined it in the 11th, I skipped 1 year and went directly to InterSATs. Just recently, I met a friend of mine who told me that one of the colleges in which she interviewed, the principal very categorically told her, do not miss the first year because what you all are learning in senior Cambridge is not enough to crack your first year and intermediate. So I missed the bus there. And though I didn't want to become a doctor, I went on to do my bachelor's degree in microbiology. And there were very few seats in the Bombay University for microbiology. And with all the reservation and other things being there, I had no hopes of getting into those seats in Mumbai. And that is where the traditional part of the family crept in. My mother put down a foot and said, no going to Baroda for your MSc or whatever it is. My father was a bit more proactive. He, found out relatives with whom I could stay or who could be my natural guardians. But all in all, my education stopped there. And my father told me, rather, he motivated me that why not join a bank? And I can say with a little bit of pride that I qualified for all the bank exams which I gave, the written tests, the interviews, and all. And finally, I started working. It was around that time that my mother and father started looking out for alliances. And first, my husband was the first alliance we sought, and I refused to get married to him. And that was because he was from a district place. And that somewhere must have hurt his ego, because he came back a month later to ask me, why did you reject me? And because that was the real wholesome reason, that I'm a Bombay girl, I don't think so I can, live in the district place, where the environment is totally different. So that was one of the reasons that that was the only reason why I had rejected him. But somehow he convinced me, we got married, and then the real journey began for me. Because I found myself in a very boring situation. It was patriarchy at its highest point, and
Hmm.
the girl of the, I mean, the bahu of the family was supposed to be staying at home and generally managing the whole thing and all that. And I was a very restless soul. So I started giving tuitions and all odd jobs which I could do to earn a little bit of money and keep myself engaged. In the meantime, my son was also born. And I guess people thought, "Ki now at least she'll be reined down to domesticity and whatever it is." But my urge to do something more sort of work was there. I was still in those days, 28 was the defining period before which you can apply to any public sector bank. So I told my husband I want to try for these exams. He also agreed, thinking that now it's so many years that she has sort of left this line. Ye kya karegi? So he said, okay, go ahead. But once again, by God's grace, I got through each and every exam. And at 27, I joined the bank again as a probationary officer. And I was the eldest in my batch, because the it was 21 to 28, the gap. Like, so most of the people were 21, 22, and I was a grand old lady at 27. Training period, training period was also okay. It was only, and the bank was kind enough to give me a first posting at the district place where my husband was posted. Then once again, people were asking me, "Ki, why have you joined the bank? Don't you realize you have taken the seat of a honhar bacha, a honhar admi, and you don't need it. Your husband is well off. He has his own business. And why do you have to come and pounce on somebody's seat?" Like I was just astounded, and I said, "Look, I came through open general competition. If he was all that much better than me, okay, he would have got the seat he did. So let's move on from here and stop talking to me about that." And I think I got a reputation कि इसके मुंह मत लगा, she's a firebrand, कुछ भी उल्टा सीधा बोल देगी. But there were many
I love that. I absolutely love that. I think you have to be a firebrand, right?
yeah. So then there was a lot of restriction on dresses. Of course, dresses doesn't mean that I was wearing, one pieces or anything. I used to wear salwar kameez and all that, which was or trousers and tops and all that. Once again, my husband counseled me that if you want to stay in this place, you better wear a sari. Because if people say something about you because you're not
Hmm.
wearing a sari, you're not coming running to me and telling me, ki, bhai, up take care of me. So then
Hmm.
I put that restriction ki, okay, I'm equally comfortable in a sari and I'll wear a sari. So that was once again that just because I'm in a district place and all my batchmates who were in Mumbai, Pune and all, they had graduated to wearing salwar suits and all. And I was like very demurely draped in a sari going to office, which was all right. And yes,
I
this
love that
patriarch.
description. I love that description. And I love and that imagery, just so kind of interesting and just so kind of just vibrant and powerful. So I think that's really fun. Go on, carry on.
Yeah. And well, I did one or two branch trainings there, and one day I got a scolding from my father-in-law. My son's education had been suffering a bit because every time I got just a little bit of insight into the bank system was they had copied the IAS system in which the probationary officers, which I was like, direct recruit officers, were trained in all aspects of banking, and then they were given important postings like branch managers and field officers. Field officers are people who are in charge of giving loans and all that. So we were put through the whole rigmarole, like, of every part of training. I went to an agricultural branch for training in agriculture and all. And so my son's education, my elder son's education was suffering a bit because sometimes I was in a district place, sometimes I was in Mumbai, and no school was ready to give him admission, like, that. And I was very frank and told them that, I'll be on training for 2 years and all. They were not willing to take him on, like. And that was the time my father-in-law gave me a earful. Like, he said, you're very selfish. You only think of yourself. You don't know that you have a son to whom you are responsible and you should be taking care of him. And I think as a mother, something triggered in me. I said, yes, I have to be a bit more careful and I have to be a bit more like mindful of what I do. And so when my batchmates were, learning about the bank as to how to become the MD, how to become the chairman, I was focusing on how can I stay in this district place? What sacrifices do I have to make? So the first thing I learned was no promotions. Just melt into the background, no promotions for you. Otherwise, though you're a probationer, you will definitely get posted in a very big bank, and then you will be spending the midnight oil in the bank and things like that. So I took that and that was the maybe the unfortunate part, or maybe I was trying to suppress myself.
Mm.
I decided to become invisible because that was helpful to my family, my son, and to my husband to some extent.
I find that I find it surprising and I find it astonishing and I find it damaging because women like yourself and me who are like, burning with desire, ambition, want different things in life are suppressed and are actually forced down a path that they don't really want to travel, but they have to because of, family pressures, societal pressures, etc., etc. But yes, I think, it's damaging. And to hear that now, sometimes now in this modern world is
Yeah,
surprising. It's shocking that we should have moved on so much. We can think, oh yeah, we're in our late 50s, 60s, whatever. But for younger women today, why? Why is this happening? We need to change the narrative. We need to show that women need to step forward and they don't need to be invisible.
that's true. Like you said, in my case, it was societal pressure because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to stand out like a sore thumb. And we are talking about the early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I told you, my husband was a businessman. And in one of our get togethers, he got a fish pond saying that he doesn't do anything unless he has consulted me. Now, in that time, it was like it came as a big shock to me that, I mean, what's wrong if you consult your wife? But I suppose they heard too much of it, or because I was working, he had to ask me that, are you free or not free or whatever? And they made fun of him for that. I felt bad for him because he was quite a nice person. He was a very good man. He used to help me at home. And when I started seeing the societal pressure building on him and me, I started pushing him away. No, I can manage. I'm the big superwoman who can manage anything. You manage your own work. And I really repent today for having done that because that was a lot of support which I just naively pushed away at that time. Anyway, so I was in Akola, which was, I mean, I was in this district place till my elder son did his 12th, and his 10th and his 12th standard was the biggest blow to my to my life. Today I know that a person not doing well, a child not doing well in his career, not doing well in a 12th standard is not the end of the world, because maybe he was not used to that restricted place where and by the way, those were the times when a 12th standard first class or a 90% or a 98% could get you a seat in an engineering college or a medical college directly. You didn't have to give any a qualifying exam for that. And this gentleman didn't do very well at all. And if anybody asked me which was the lowest point in my life, that was it. I was
Mm-hmm.
shattered. Like, because I was a probationer, I knew there were many people who were jealous of me and who thought I was very extra smart and all. And had all those two people saying, oh, good. मैडम के बच्चे ने उसका नाक काट दिया, वेरी गुड, that type of
Hmm.
thing. And it comes back to you from some way or the other. So that period was very, very, very bad for me. The result was that maybe I became a not yes, a sort of overprotective mom to my younger son. Both me and my husband maybe spent extra time with the younger one because we didn't want him going that way. But and as I always feel that nothing succeeds like success. The same me who was a third class mother who didn't care anything, I became the best mom when my son, the same son who had not got good marks in 12th, he got his highest paid job in his campus. Suddenly, oh my God, look at her. And I was just wondering, I'm the same. My behavior towards him the same. I treated him the same way as I treated my other child. Then, I mean, what happened to me suddenly? So it's nothing succeeds like success, and society dims it into you like, ki you are a bad mom, so this happened. You are
Yeah.
a this, so that happened. So
Hmm.
yes, okay. Coming back to my own career, around the same time that my boys were growing up, I got an opportunity to become a trainer in the bank. Now, being selected as a trainer was one thing. Your qualities are tested, the way you speak is tested, how well you can explain is tested. But to become a trainer and stand on the bank's podium, you need to undergo 2.5 months of rigorous training. So I had to be away from the family. I was asked to go to Gurgaon. And that was one time my husband and my children really supported me. Like they were on their best behavior. There was no complaints at home. And I finished the training. And I'm proud to tell you that is one forum which has stood by me wherever I went. Whether I got transferred to Hyderabad, where I got transferred, wherever it is, that training background helped me like anything. Because automatically I got pushed into, places where I could open my mouth and talk and, share about myself.
Can I
And
just say, because I've got a training background, I think it
oh,
helps
great.
you. It really helps you so much in life because it's such a transferable skill, right? It's such
Yes,
a
yes,
transfer. It gives you the confidence, it gives you the power, you can project your voice, you can be heard. And I think that's allowed me to come and do what I'm doing now, right? So,
I
and
agree.
I think those skills are so important and, they're fundamental and importantly, as I've just said, they're transferable. You can apply them to any part of your life.
Correct. Correct. Agree. Even there, my selection as trainer had a lot of patriarchal angles to it. Why is she being taken? She doesn't opt for promotion. She just stays back. She's laid back, this, that, and the other. So people tried to push me out. But I don't know. May have impressed the people on the selection board and I got through. And well, second aspect happened when my son went to, we had to shift from our native place to a bigger center because he wanted to crack the IIT. And at that time, there were two centers, Kota and Hyderabad. And we found Hyderabad better because it was possible for me to get a transfer to Hyderabad and my son could study also. Well, he cracked his IIT in the first event, in the first attempt itself, he joined. And then I thought, now I'm going to enjoy life. I'm going to take all my promotions. I'm going to be not the invisible Nilima, but somebody who is, really raring to go. And then we started hearing stories about, the suicides at IIT. And a very close friend of mine lost his son to that. So that became another blow to me, psychological blow. So and my son also was a bit on shaky grounds at that time. So I remember having told him, your ambition was to get into IIT. You've done that. Now, if you feel you don't like to be there, you want to take commerce, you want to take arts, you want to do anything, come back. I'll be with you. I'll support you. We are not bothered what people will say. You be happy. You be contented with what it is. Whatever it is, he decided to go through his IIT. And again, he later on he did his IIM. And like I really wasn't saying like enjoying doing too much for myself because somewhere I had that niggling fear in my mind that I don't know, we are so far away, and am I really being able to counsel him, this, that, and the other. And yes, the last part was after he had sort of graduated from IIT, I got transferred to the corporate center of my office. And my husband, in the meantime, had retired from his business and he had bought a lot of land near our native place where he wanted to raise the groundwater level. He had a very ambitious project where he wanted to raise the groundwater level by doing whatever he did. And I remember having told him ki I'm a city bred girl, born and brought up in Mumbai. By God's grace, I've got into Mumbai. I've got Mumbai as my base. Let me just work in peace. After I've retired, I'll join you. I'm sure about that, but just let me, enjoy working in Mumbai. It's a different thing altogether, working in Mumbai. So he too agreed. And then, yes, I lost my husband to a accident, say some 4 years before I retired.
I'm so
So
sorry.
yeah, so that was a big blow. And my elder son literally pulled me out of the whole this thing. Like, no, mom, there is a life ahead of this. You have to pull up your shoes, socks, and stand up and this. And he stepped into the role of a father for the younger one. There's a difference of 10 years between both my sons. So he literally stepped into into the shoes of a father and counseled the younger one, thinking mommy has gone a bit, a bit depressed or whatever it is. And well, I suppose during that time, around a year before I retired, my mother passed away. I already had the guilt that I had not looked after my father when he was sick because my son was very small. I didn't have enough leave, and the whole brunt was borne by my mother and my brother. So this time onwards, I thought that now it's my time to stand up and say, I'll look after you. But my mother, being my mother, and it was always the case, she had a soft corner towards my brother and she wanted to be with him, and he was not married. So she felt she should stay with him all the time. And I could see that she was not getting taken care of and all. So that was another thing. After she passed away, I retired. And then, like, I thought I will do something in the bank itself, like be a consultant or something. I did a lot of trainings in that period. I also did a stint as an HR consultant with the society. And then COVID struck. So, like the rest of us, I was too grounded at home. And then I started doing online training, online banking training. And like you said, once a trainer, always a trainer. So whether it was
Yeah.
online or whatever it is, I could feel it. And I was getting the feedback that, madam, your classes are well attended. People ask you questions. You sort of shake everybody out of their this thing,
Slumber, probably.
slumber, correct. And you bring them back and all. So that was one thing. And I still do it because I feel it keeps me connected to my core subject, which is banking. And then, of course, during the lockdown itself, started making a few reels with my daughter-in-law and all. And today, I feel I'm not invisible, and neither am I prepared to be invisible anymore. I just want to go and put out over there what I've been through and what I've learned in life and what can be. I give my opinion of socially relevant objects. There's another point I would like to make at this point. Somewhere women are made to feel invisible after 50. It happens
Mhm.
even with the men, no doubt. After 60, when you've stopped working and all, but somewhere it's the money coming in, the pension or whatever the father has earned. Somewhere that is there at the back of the mind. But even if there is a 70-year-old woman in the house and she's not well, people will expect, अरे बैठे बैठे सब्जी तो साफ करके दो. That will be such a help. And the poor woman, whether she can see or not, she's doing that. So I think women are not really allowed to just enjoy themselves in our society. That also should stop. And just to make yourself very social relevant, they do this work, that work, then they have a fall, then again they are scolded. So maybe that also should be taken care of. But I understand that at very many times it's the financial status of the family. If you're from a very reasonable, good financially settled family, then you can afford to have maids and cooks and everything. But otherwise, it's the family members pitching and doing their part. And then there's the guilt also in the in a financially insecure person, that am I, making my children spend more for me. So a person tries to be less active, less, less
Less
flamboyant,
visible.
less
Absolutely.
visible. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's a really important point because we've moved on to the present when you're talking about your social media and Instagram. But just before we kind of extend on that, I feel that if you're well off, whether you're kind of middle of the road or whether you're, are struggling with your finances, wherever you are in life, you shouldn't be made to feel invisible. That's the bottom line. That's what it should be about. And on my podcast, I have women from all sorts of backgrounds appearing. And that's the whole idea, is that we showcase women from all parts of the world, from all backgrounds, and it's about that common message about not being, invisible, and people not pushing them into that space either.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Uh, a little bit again, like I told you, I chose to be invisible and not to be too obtrusive when my children were studying and all, because I didn't want them to have problems in school and things like that. And the same me after my husband passed away, and there were people who were commenting on how flashily I was dressing. I had the courage to pull them down and say, look, I'm alive. I know he's gone, he's not there, but I'm sure he wouldn't like me to lead a dowdy life or to be a dowdy person. So I want to live for myself. So please keep all your opinions and all your thoughts to yourself. And I'm going to be just this. I'm going to dress up the way I want. Of course, with age, you do tend to sort of your choices are mellowed and everything does mellowed. But I definitely, put down those people who were trying to tell me that, you should be very demure. What is this? You've started wearing dresses. Your husband is no longer. At that time, I did have them, "Ki, please shut up." I mean, not in so many words, but plus, this is the way I like it. I'm going about it.
I think
I
it's
think
so
my
interesting
career
what you
price.
said, Nilima, in terms of like, being mellow. You don't need to be mellow. Who says you need to be mellow, right? Who has the authority to tell you whether you need to be mellow or loud, right? At the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's what comfortable with you. I mean, you lost your husband. I divorced my husband actually at the age of 52, which is shocking because I didn't expect myself to be there in my life. But I've also found, so much about myself. I've actually become the person I've always wanted to be because of societal pressures, family pressures. I was pushed into a space that I wasn't happy. I had to accept it for whatever reasons. And now that I don't have any of that nonsense, but I do have the support of my children, and as you have the support of your family, to do what you want. If you're not harming, I'll say this 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, on my podcast, if you're not harming anyone, does it really matter? Be your own person because you have one life, it's your life. Do what you want with it.
You said it so well. Exactly my thoughts. That only one life. Let me lead it the way I'm on. I'm not encroaching on your privacy, your whatever they think. If you don't like me as a person, let's stay away. Let's not be friends. You lead your life. I lead my life.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So you
Yeah.
talked about your social media, which of course is growing. And how do you feel about that? I mean, how do you feel about being on Instagram? Because this is for people who probably won't want to be on there, but and find that social media is a very toxic place. It doesn't have to be toxic because it's at the
It
end of the
doesn't have to be.
day, you have to, if you step into that space and you produce something or you showcase something that's different and it's positive, it's healthy, then, it's all good. And I think, we need to be encouraging other women to step out. So how do you feel
Exactly.
about it?
I'm very happy with the way I'm projecting myself. uh, like my son remarked that, Mom, you just get up in the morning, wash your face, and you're doing a reel. I said, yeah, because I just have to be myself. I don't need to put makeup. Maybe I have used a little bit of makeup because I want to speak to you and be presentable and all that. But early in the morning, who does that? And I said, my followers are accepting it because my image is Aji. Aji is grandmother, or some call me Mausi. I have a follower from Pakistan who says that we also call our mothers Maji. Can I call you Maji? And the
Mhm.
range is wide. Like one of my friends told me that, you're too preachy. I said, okay, I'll take your feedback about that. But I have college going students who talk to me and say, you know what, we really like your program. We are staying alone in a hostel and we feel as if we are talking to our mother. So I feel somewhere I must be talking sense. And I do try not to be. And I have my family, which is constantly telling me, don't be preachy. Just be, share your wisdom, but don't be too, like, you're not a saint type of thing.
Okay. So we talked about, so one of the things that we talked about on the podcast, was there a trigger point at 50 that made you think differently? Or as you said in the whole of this podcast, you're always different in terms of your thinking and etc. and your approach to life. Was there anything that was different at 50 or not?
Actually, I would say that 50 to 60, I was more or less like working in the bank and doing what was like, taking on responsibility in my limited this thing, because I was approaching retirement age. So I was not given those very, dynamic posts and things like that. Whatever was given to me, I would do it to the best of my ability. And after 60, yes, one of the trigger points was the loss of my husband. And not that he had ever held me back, but I suppose there was some strains of patriarchy, like when the children did badly, it was my fault. When they did nicely, it was his prestige and thing going on, which I really didn't care about. I just was kept on doing my thing and I was okay about it. It was after retirement that the trigger point, that no, I cannot depend, and especially the pandemic, that I cannot depend on outside work to keep myself busy. I have to start something of my own, which I can do from home itself. And then I found this, and all credit to my daughter in law, who literally pushed me into this field. And I found that, yes, I'm liking it. I enjoy doing the dances, so health wise sometimes I'm not able to do it. And I like reading, so reading up and finding out what's happening and then using it sometimes in my podcast. Those those were the triggers, I would say. That was the, I wouldn't say trigger, it just pushed me to go back. In fact, even when I'm doing my online classes, I do get the feedback that you tell them more than what is required for their particular role, because I feel anybody should be socially aware of what is going on. You can be the smallest cog in the wheel of your organization, but that cog in the wheel is also very important because it's contributing something. So you have to be very aware of what is happening around you, and so many other things.
It's not just about being a cog in the organization, it's about being your cog in the universe, in society,
Correct.
in life, right? It's
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
being curious and staying curious. I mean, I'm about to turn 60, so this in the next couple of months, and it hasn't stopped me from, and it hasn't stopped you either, from actually being curious about life, pushing the boundaries, trying something different. I would have never imagined, as I say many, many times, that I would be doing a podcast, right? It's not something that one would start at 58, for instance, and now also I'm on Instagram, but also the fact that you wouldn't think of those things. But then when you get to that age, you have this awakening, which is like, oh, okay, do I just sit still and wait to die? Or do I do something about it? And then eventually I will die anyway. But
Anyway.
let's make this bit fun. Let's make this bit interesting. And like you said about your daughter-in-law, my family, my children support me and absolutely love the fact that you or I are pushing the boundaries each and every day, trying something different, and it's showcasing. And it's what I said on a previous podcast. We're actually opening the doors for the younger generation, because people who watch you, people who watch me, people who listen to me, people who listen to you, or people who listen to other people, the fact is that we're opening the doors, because when they get to that age, they'll go, oh, we've seen it all before. There isn't an end. It's just continuation. It's, curiosity. It's all of this. It's growth. It's, that excitement and that interest and that, vitality that you just carry on forward. I mean, you can't suppress a person, and you shouldn't be suppressed by society, right? You should just carry on, do your thing, and hope that people like what you're doing.
Yeah, that's true. Like the people should like what you're doing. I suppose that acceptance is important for all of us.
Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
mean, I had somebody comment on me yesterday and love the work that you're doing. The fact is that I'm showing women that, or I'm showing the world in a way that you're not invisible. Women aren't invisible, right? Here we are. We're doing all this. All right. So let's go into a commercial break. And when we're back, we'll talk about what the future looks like and also the bonus part of the podcast. Did you know that You Are Not Invisible After 50 is not just about a highly acclaimed global podcast? Our mission is to empower all women, regardless of colour, creed, class, and culture, across all countries and continents. So, we have two empowering courses for you: a high return 1 hour masterclass, Building a Life You Love, Creating Your Own Path After 50. This transformative masterclass is one you've been waiting for. Are you ready to seize life after 50 like never before? Well, say goodbye to feeling stuck and say hello to the life you love. Don't let age define your limits. Let it ignite your possibilities. This transformative masterclass is your ticket to a vibrant and fulfilling future. But that's not all. We also have our innovative introductory business course, Grey to Gold. In today's dynamic business world, age should never be a barrier to success. Say goodbye to age-related stereotypes and hello to unstoppable success. Our half-a-day course will equip you with the skills and confidence you need to conquer the business world. Discover the true value of your experience, reinvent yourself, stay competitive, and master the art of self-presentation. It's time to turn your grey into gold. Visit our website and check out our courses geared to propel you to the next level. So embrace your age, utilize your wisdom, experience, and own your success. Spots are limited. Also, we have wonderful products launching this year. So keep a watch on our social media, posts, and website www.youarenotinvisibleafter50.com. You can also find out more about the woman behind You Are Not Invisible After 50. Details are available on my website www.iamkirankumar.com or my Instagram account at iamkirankumar13. We look forward to you connecting with us. Thank you. So, Nilima, let's move on and talk about the future. So, what have you got coming up for yourself, or what do you want to achieve in the next, I don't know, year, 2 years, etc.?
Mm, I want to increase my follower base by giving them wholesome stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
something like just today I was wishing a friend's daughter for her birthday, and she's saying, Auntie, you're motivating me, which was like a big shock because not a shock, it came as a bit of a surprise because we've not been in touch because I'm just moving over the geography. So it's not always possible to stay in touch. So I was wondering that she's my friend's daughter, so I'm in touch. But what about the followers who are, they listen to what I'm saying or they take interest? So I should be a good content creator so that, uh, today everybody's attention span is becoming smaller and smaller. I was a voracious reader, but I'm ashamed to say that today I'm not able to finish a book, not even in a month. I'm extremely ashamed to say that. But okay, these are the times, maybe my eyes are a problem or whatever it is of a problem. So whatever you have to say, you have to say it in those 1.5 minutes, and that has to be something which strikes a chord with your listen. So I'm just hoping, and I hope it is manifested, that I'm able to touch the lives of many many people, not only in India, all over the world. And God gives me this wisdom to say things which are relevant, and to steer away from negativity and try to spread as much positive as possible. I don't know, I may be sounding very preachy, but
No,
I
I think
sincerely
it's really
feel.
good. I mean, you need to be authentic. You need to be positive. You need to, you know, s- change the spin on social media because people say, oh, it's toxic. Well, hang on, it's only toxic if you look at the toxic things. If you look at the good things and people are putting out good stuff. I mean, I have so many women on this podcast. I mean, we're into the fifth series, right? So we have
Yeah,
so many women on this podcast who are on social media, who are all doing positive things. People, flock to them, and I just think that's good, that's healthy, that's nourishing. And, if you can produce good content, as you said, and you are authentic and honest and approach it that way, then it's actually changes even the spin on social media that it's not as bad as people think. It's what you put out there, and as long as you feel comfortable in doing what you're doing, then yeah, go for it, I say. And I think
I
also, you want to go back, you want to go to bed at night thinking, that wasn't bad. That was good. I like putting out this positive stuff. And
yeah,
it's good
yeah,
for the soul. It's good for the soul.
precisely, precisely. And you always have the option of weeding out the negative things.
Oh yeah,
You can put that not interested or unfollow or something like that. So it's not that somebody's forcing you to get into the toxic. Okay, but it has got a label, and maybe we can try to clear it. But it's an
absolutely.
amazing media. Amazing media.
I think it is. I think it's really is
Yeah.
positive. I mean, I've just kind of embraced that as well.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the bonus part of the podcast.
Yeah.
So what are the 5 tips that you'd give to somebody who is under 50? What would you say to them? What would this advice be from Nilima Dev?
I would say take care of your health. It is, I mean, that's non-negotiable, because you might be intelligent, you might be vivacious, you might be full of life, you might be full of ideas, but if your health doesn't support you, you can put a full stop to it and you can just become invisible whether you like it or not. So please take
Yes.
care of your health. Take all your vitamins, if whatever exercises, physiotherapy, whatever you have to do. And I know it's not easy, especially when you're working. I've been battling the weight battle for God knows how many years now, but I'm still at it. So please, हाथ जोड़ के, please take care of your health, get all your medical tests done, because these are little things which push you into, coming onto the right path. And one never knows the way things, can just get out of control. Second point, I would like to tell once again everybody under 50 or over 50, if you're unfortunate enough to face a bereavement when you're young, or whether you are lucky enough that you had the company of your partner till say you're 65, 68, or whatever it is, move on. The memories will last. You'll always honor those memories, cherish those memories, but move on. After all, if you were meant to live, let's live positively. There's no point in just, I know the memories come in fast and they are really very, they hurt you at times. They put you in a depression, but that's one thing you have to get to. And remember, definitely, if you have had a good relationship, your partner is waiting, then wants to see you happy. So you're doing that person, maybe they be your parents, maybe I lost my brother during COVID, my brother, my husband, whoever it is, I'm sure they must be happy that I'm finding a place for myself, that I'm also remembering them at the same time. So if you have to, I mean, we all grieve, but get on with life. Don't just lie in that thing that, oh my God, this happened, that happened, because life has to go on. You can't just lie back.
It's not just
I'm
about
sorry.
bereavement, is it? It's about loss in a general way. I mean,
Yes,
I
yes,
feel I
yes.
lost so much by ending my marriage, but I had gained nothing from that marriage either. So you feel a loss. So whether it's, you've lost somebody in life or you've lost something because, well, sorry, that was actually true. If you lost something in life, whatever it is, if it's a bereavement or otherwise, the fact is that you have to regather yourself and go, okay, so now what? I can't just dwell on that. I've got
Correct.
to move forward. As you said, Nilima, if you have this life, you need to live it and you have to get on with it. And that should be the focus, but not just live it, thrive in it, and it's hard to come back because I lost my mother in 2017. That was such a huge loss to me. She was my best friend, to come back from that was hard. But the fact is, the important thing here is come back and come back well and come back strong
Wrong.
because you'll make the difference to somebody else's life as
Else's
well.
life. Correct. Correct. Yeah, actually, you put it very well. Maybe in my own narrow mind, I was just thinking of loss due to death. But like you said, loss of anything, you have to get over it and move on. If you
Mhm.
want to really do yourself a favor, or you really care for yourself, um, love yourself. We feel, of course, we love ourselves, but women really don't love themselves. They're always X, Y, Z. Everything is more important than them. Oh, I'll do it after this is over. Oh, I'll do this after. So I am my last priority. So today I feel no, I am the first priority. I do a little bit of Reiki. Even then, and even when we are flying like, the air hostess always tells us that first you secure your own mask, then you go and help others. Similarly, first you be strong, love yourself, take care of your health, then you can be of help to others. If you are just, diddling, dawdling, and not even tottering on your own feet, how can you help others? So love yourself first, because that's one thing we women don't do. We keep saying, yes, my very favorite too, but we are not. We
Yeah.
are not our own favorites. Yeah.
That's an important one as well. I mean, yeah, love yourself and not with it like with an ego, just love yourself, because at the end of the day, as you said, if you don't put yourself first, you can't, you won't be any good to anybody else in your life. I mean, that's why I kind of now, because my father had so many ailments. I actually put my health first. I exercise on a regular basis. I eat good food on constantly, and I watch my diet because, at the end of the day, you have to take care of you, as you said, because if you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to take care of anybody else.
That's true. And last thing, don't stop learning. Our generation, we are in such a situation where we have to unlearn whatever we have learned so far and learn some new things which is slightly difficult to do. You feel I've learned it once, I know everything. But no, unlearning is more difficult because that system is so ingrained in you that you find it difficult to adjust to the new normal. Like um, the social media and editing and angles and camera angles and where is it going to come from and all, what type of dresses I should wear and all. This is a learning for me. I always dressed well, but today it's a different ball game to get altogether. Today I don't feel like going and buying. Today I went shopping with my daughter-in-law. I realized that there were so many things I liked, but I'm not the me I was 10 years ago who'd say, no, I want this, I want this, I want that. Because I've matured. But learning is something different. You have to keep progressing. You have to, what should I say, updating yourself all the time to stay relevant. I
I
feel.
think I think there's a message there also. The fact is that you have to keep on learning. You don't have to unlearn everything, but you have to keep on learning. You have to be curious. You have to be like with the times. The fact is my children, are like whatever, 20 or 30 years, 40 years younger than me. They're in their mid-20s, late 20s. The fact is that you want to keep relevant, right? You want to keep in kind of abreast of what's going on and in
Yeah,
tune with them, because then like when they talk to you, they don't think, oh, you're a period, you're from the dinosaur age. That you actually are kind of modern thinking, etc. And I think
yeah,
doing social media or being on social media certainly opens the doors to learning new
definitely.
things.
And one thing, what you said that we are not from the dinosaur media, I found that the youngsters, even when I was working, I found that the youngsters, if I approach them, see, I don't understand this, can you help me with it? They're very open and they give you shortcuts. They tell you how you can do it faster and things like that. We shouldn't let our ego in the way. We should, I mean, yeah, let's say we shouldn't get ego in our way and we should ask. Because only if you ask, the person will give. They say that the mother also doesn't feed you if you don't ask her for food. So then for help, you can always ask, not an issue. And I think I finished my five or not, I don't know. But one thing I would like to say is that, like for me, because I stay with my children, one of my two sons all the time. And because they are working and all, they are moving through various geographies. I'm basically a Mumbai girl. My friends are from Mumbai. But thanks to the various postings I had, I have a lot of friends all over. But the friendships you make when you're young and the friendships you feel like making when you're 60 or 65, when you become sort of invisible, I find older people are not very ready to intake another person in their group. There is that something like, I don't know how she is, whether she should be included and not. At that time, I'm not saying switch it off and try to be on your own, but being your own best friend is the best way to live. I'm not saying that don't mix with other people, but when you find that there are limitations for whatever reasons, when there is no friendship or you're not able to find a new relationship in the place you are, like when I go to my son's house in Bangalore, I have a lot of friends there because we all come down with our grandchildren, or you compliment some girl who's going to office and she's worn a very nice dress. So I know a lot of people. But where I'm living in Pune, it's one of the luxury flats and all, where automatically I think people maintain their distance and they're not very forthcoming. So you tend to be on your own, like, you can't say, oh, I don't have friends and feel bad about it. Learn to enjoy your own company because your own company is something which is not going to let you go right till your last. This is what I feel.
I think that's really important because, there are circumstances in our life where you make friends, you don't make friends, you lose friends. I think people should be more accepting, I mean, depends on, of course, your society. But I find that being on social media, you find people who are like, kind of like-minded. And I think that's really good because then, I mean, I've connected with a couple of people here, even though I've, interviewed many, but you connect with people who are a little bit more like-minded, accept you for who you
Right.
are. And I think you'll find those gems in life, regardless of age, and I think just whatever friendships you want to maintain. And I think also, as you said, Nilima, that being your own best friend, being proud of who you are, and enjoying your own company. I mean, doing social media is such a time kind of it fills in the time, doesn't it? Because then you can do what you want, you can say what you want, and then you just put it out there and you feel like you made another friend.
Yeah. And you feel relieved that I've said what I wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
been a pleasure having you on this podcast, and I'm sure you're not as nervous as you were when you first started.
No, and I'm really grateful to you because you really took me through. I thought mine was a rather boring life, but okay, that's the way it was, and that's the way it will continue to be. I can't tweak it today and say, no, try to make it more. I've heard many of the podcasts in the since we met last, and after every podcast, I had this feeling that such amazing people. Am I even like, a centimeter of what these glorious girl women are? And I learned a lot with, I mean, handmade notes actually, somebody being a model at 71 and things like that. It was very, very motivating. And I quite understand the spirit behind why you started all this.
Oh,
Everybody feels motivated. Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh,
And
thank you for being on there, because without you guys, it's not going to happen, is it? So, at the end of the day, you're the women who make a difference. You're the women who aren't invisible. You're the women who aren't going to be invisible, and this is what this is all about. This is about showcasing women from all over the world. And I think it's really exciting because you said about, like leading kind of a simple life, mundane life, whatever. We all lead lives and they're all exciting. Somebody will find your life interesting. The fact that what you've done, gone from, school to, banking and then social media, people will be inspired by that. And that's what it is. You'll
thank you so much,
inspire.
Kiran. Thank you for saying that. It means a lot to me.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, Nilima. Thank you for being on here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me and giving me a platform to speak my mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the You're Not Invisible After 50 podcast. If you want to hear more from some amazing women who are over 50, who are kicking ass and making impact, then don't forget to follow us right here on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Remember to subscribe, rate, comment, and share with other women through your social media. Let's spread the word across the world that you don't have to be invisible after 50. Check out our other services on www.you'renotinvisibleafter50.com and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube. And always remember that life doesn't end at 50. In fact, it's just beginning. We look forward to you connecting with us. Thank you.